I was raised not far from where I'm sitting right now. I was raised at 2804 East Park Place on the east side of Milwaukee. But I was also raised, I think because when I was in fourth grade, so I think that includes the time that one is raised. I was also raised on Newton Avenue in Shorewood, between Downer and Lake Drive at 2711 East Newton Avenue. My parents were John Francis Monroe and Miriam Brennan Monroe. I had two siblings, one of whom died when she was in her 40s, Mary Ellen, the other of whom lives in Seattle at the age of 80. And on the Monroe side, my dad's mother and father are both of Irish extraction, and they too came in 1848, or about that time, but they didn't come here. The first Monroes who came to this country worked on the Erie Canal and got some capital together, and then came to Wisconsin and went to Washington County, north of here, and went into farming because that was all they knew. I'm told that they could not read or write, but they knew how to operate a farm. And we do know where in Ireland they came from. One, Bailaborough in County Cavan, and my grandmother's family came from County Cork. So that was the family. I had met some very famous people. When you were turning on the lights just now, I was conscious of the fact I once interviewed a guy named Richard Nixon. He was running for the presidency, and at that time I had been a radio station announcer in the city. When I was going to Marquette, I worked for WSN. But then there was a group of three guys who would form a panel, and we would interview somebody of interest on Saturday afternoons. I don't think anybody watched TV then, but that's what Rosemary did. And that was very nice of her. She critiqued my performance. But I remember here in the Midwest, you can imagine how often you would see a man being made up. And in those days, I guess TV cameras were not so gentle as they are now. And I saw this guy being made up, and I thought that's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. But he traveled when he was campaigning for president. He traveled with some lady who made him look nice. But I also remember, I shouldn't make a political statement, but I'm going to make it anyway. I remember coming home and telling Rosemary, I think I just met the biggest phony I've ever met. Richard Nixon was not anybody who impressed me. I met Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of Franklin Roosevelt. I met Clement Attlee, the guy who unseated Winston Churchill as Prime Minister of Great Britain. I've been fortunate that way. Oh, I know one of the most famous people I ever met was Elizabeth Taylor. And I did something very intimate with Elizabeth Taylor, which I'm willing to confess to. I had taken a sucret, do you know what that is? A throat lozenger, out of my pocket and put it on my tongue. My throat was dry. And she spotted the little tin can. The sucrets in those days came in a tin can. I don't even know if they're on the market today. And she said, could I have one of those? And I said, well, of course you can. But in her appearance, she was wearing gloves. And she said, would you do me a favor and just put it on my tongue? So I have put a sucret on Elizabeth Taylor's tongue. How many people do you know who've done that?